How did one tiny rainy island end up controlling nearly a quarter of the entire planet? Simple. Britain became obsessed with money, trade, and naval power. By the early 1900s, the British Empire ruled over around 458 million people, nearly 1 out of every 4 humans alive. But Britain didn't start as some unstoppable superpower. Back in the 1500s, it was poor and overshadowed by giant empires like Spain. And Spain was unbelievably rich. Spanish treasure fleets carried mountains of gold and silver from the Americas back to Europe, while Britain watched thinking, "Why did they get all the treasure?" So Britain became a pirate nation. The English crown secretly supported privateers, basically legalized pirates, who attacked Spanish treasure ships across the Atlantic. One of them, Sir Francis Drake, stole so much treasure that Queen Elizabeth knighted him. Naturally, Spain was furious. So in 1588, Spain launched the mighty Spanish Armada to invade England. But everything went wrong. English ships were faster, storms destroyed much of the Spanish fleet, and Britain survived. Spain declined. Britain learned a lesson that shaped the next 300 years. If you control the sea, you control everything. So Britain became obsessed with building the world's strongest navy. But giant fleets cost enormous amounts of money. And that's where colonies came in. During the 1600s, Britain established settlements across North America and the Caribbean. Then it discovered something insanely profitable: sugar. Caribbean plantations generated massive wealth, and demand across Europe exploded. But plantation labor was brutal. So Britain turned to the Atlantic slave trade. Millions of enslaved Africans were transported across the ocean and forced to work throughout the empire. The profits became enormous. Sugar, tobacco, and cotton flooded into Britain, making merchants rich. And Britain used that money to build more ships, expand its military, and conquer more territory. But Britain wasn't the only empire competing for global dominance. France, Spain, Portugal, and the Netherlands all wanted control too. So the next 2 centuries became one giant imperial free-for-all. Britain fought wars across Europe, America, Africa, India, and the oceans. But Britain had one huge advantage: the Royal Navy. Its fleet became so powerful that Britain could protect trade routes, blockade enemies, and move armies almost anywhere on Earth. During the 7 Years' War, Britain crushed much of France's colonial empire and emerged as the dominant global power. Britain expanded into Canada, India, and countless overseas territories. But controlling massive colonies created another problem. People didn't enjoy being ruled from thousands of miles away. And nowhere exploded more dramatically than America. After spending huge amounts of money on wars, Britain heavily taxed the American colonies. The colonists snapped, "No taxation without representation." Tensions escalated until the American Revolution erupted into war. After years of fighting, Britain lost the 13 colonies entirely. But Britain responded by conquering even more places somewhere else. Instead of focusing on America, Britain turned toward Asia and especially India. And India became the crown jewel of the British Empire. At the same time, Britain industrialized faster than almost anyone else. Factories, railways, steam engines, and mechanized production transformed Britain into the workshop of the world. By the 1800s, Britain's navy dominated global trade routes. The empire expanded across Canada, Australia, Africa, India, and the Middle East. The phrase, "the sun never sets on the British Empire," became literally true. But giant empires are difficult to maintain. Rebellions erupted constantly. Other powers like Germany and the United States became stronger. Then came World War I. Britain technically won, but millions died and the economy weakened badly. Then World War II made things even worse. Britain survived the war, but financially it was exhausted. Soon, colonies across the empire demanded independence. India gained independence in 1947, inspiring many others to break away too. One by one, Britain's territories disappeared. The empire slowly collapsed throughout the 20th century. But Britain's influence never fully disappeared. The English language became global. International trade routes were shaped by British naval dominance. So how did tiny Britain control half the world? By mastering naval power, global trade, industrialization, and ruthless imperial expansion all at once. For nearly 2 centuries, the British Empire became the center of global power. But even the largest empire in history learned the same brutal truth. Controlling the world is much easier than holding on to it.